Welcome back. I'm talking to Neil Sanders, who is the author of Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own, all about mind control. And Neil also has a presentation for sale, if you want to have a look at that. It's called Welcome to Sell, the Dark Art of Marketing. Just tell us what that is, Neil.
Well, I play a character of an evil salesman. It's a satirical piece, basically. I did a presentation at the AV5, which was a sales scenario, a sales seminar, you know, like these guys do, where they're basically teaching, I'll teach you how to maximise your sales potential and stuff like that. So that's basically what I'm doing. But obviously what I'm actually telling you is I'm showing you the tricks that advertisers themselves might use. So. But if I come across as a bit brash and arrogant in there, it's a character.
Okay, well, let's get back to this. We're talking about. Well, predominantly it's the US we've been discussing.
Yeah, and I think that's mostly because the UK tends to hide it a lot better. Like task forces in America, who would be the people that would go after drugs, and they never go after the sort of the top level people. They always tend to go after users, because basically you've got targets to hit, and it's easier to go and get the same 3 users day in, day out, day out, or whatever, or get people that are buying it rather than supplying it. Because then you get to seize assets. This is the strange thing about task force in America that a lot of people don't realise, is they're self-financed. They don't get financing from the government apart from initially. They make their money from from seizures and forfeitures of profits. So they find a small amount of drugs in here, then basically they can seize all the property, all the money.
There's no drugs in here, Neil.
No, of course there's not. But like they could claim that, and it would be down to me to prove that all of this stuff is not connected to the profits of drugs.
Right.
And so, you know, they finance themselves. They have a vested interest in basically seizing a lot of money and a lot of property off people that might not necessarily have the strongest case against them. And then it says you can tie it with plea bargaining and various other 3 strikes and you're out, which is a big thing in America.
Is crack a problem in the UK, or is it powdered cocaine? Is there a difference between crack and bog standard cocaine? I'm not really up on the
crack. The point about, well, here's an interesting thing as well. Okay, crack is you mix it with baking soda and water, allegedly, and you boil it down, and basically it makes it a lot stronger, but it also sort of spreads it so that you get more return on your investment, shall we say. Now, when crack first started in 1984, it was a way of, it was originally called freebase.
I'll just interrupt you a minute, Neil. I'm not advocating, and we are not advocating breaking the law in any way, shape or form pertaining to drugs. We're just discussing the politics of it. We're not,
but Fox News does, and CNN does, and the government does, and I'll tell you for why. You go back and watch any of the when crack first came out.
On a new kind of cocaine called crack. It's going nationwide, especially among the young.
Compared with powdered cocaine used for sniffing, crack is 4 times as strong. 2 or 3 rocks in a vial for as little as $20, ready to smoke.
A new form of cocaine on the streets right now, cheap, powerful, cheap, really strong. Did we tell you how cheap it is? All the time that you see these just say no, war on drugs, all they're actually doing is they're telling you that this is very strong, it's available now, it's like cocaine, so you can be like those rich Hollywood people, like all the film stars, but it's also cheap. Did we mention how cheap and strong it is? Go back and look at any article that talks about crack. It's a marketing campaign.
I think you mentioned a phrase there, just say no. It might be a little bit before your time, I'm not sure, but the whole Grange Hill thing with Sam or Sammy, whatever he was called, there was one of the characters was on, well, probably heroin, I think it was. And there was this massive campaign, just say no, and they had a song as well.
And when they went to the White House, all the Grange
Hill they went to the White House,
round the back having a joint before they met the president.
What, they were they?
Yeah, they've admitted this. And this is the President Reagan who's basically responsible for the crack explosion. It's a bit, but that's the point. You set yourself up as one thing and basically promote that you're another thing in the public eye.
Right.
I mean, I'll give you an example of that. It would be the Sinaloa cartel. Everybody in America knows that it's the drugs cartels, it's the Mexican cartels. We've already discussed Guadalajara cartel. The Sinaloa cartel was, again, one of the largest cartels in America. These were the people that we said before providing 90% of the drugs in Chicago, now called Chirac, now a complete, total, like, mess of a city. financed, set up by the CIA, given protection by the American and the Mexican government. They basically were in cahoots with American Customs and Excise, the ATF, and the CIA, providing apparently intelligence on other cartels, which I don't believe either. It was just a way, this is the public perception. There were actually, Felipe Calderon, El Chapo seemed to be basically, he was the guy that ran the cartel, seemed to be almost bedfellows with him. He got arrested in 1993, okay, and got sent to prison on sort of I forget what the actual charge was. But he lived in that prison like Grouty from Porridge. He ran it. He was like a hotel. Right. Seriously, like the prison guards were his servants. Like people who went to visit him, he made it very, very clear, if I don't want you to leave, you're not leaving. Like, this is my prison, I run it. Right. In 2001, he was supposed to be extradited to America. A couple of days before this happened, in a laundry cart, he managed to escape from a maximum security prison. Come on, it never happens. Apparently, as it transpired, he paid off at least 78 prison guards, government officials and police. So he apparently went on the run for about 13 years, although it was during this time that he was actually trading information with the DEA and the CIA and the Mexican government. So this is nonsense. He was actually just propped up by the American government. He was also known to hang out in public places with celebrities and politicians, and his wedding, which was during the time that he was supposedly on the run, was protected by the American army and attended by Mexican and American politicians.
You talk about celebrities, it's fairly well accepted that the cocaine is the drug of choice with a lot of celebrities.
But this is my point, you know, that's all right. It's seen as, oh, it's just that sort of thing, but it's depicted as something entirely different when you're arresting teenagers on a council estate or whatever. But as we look at it, the major problems, like the Sinaloa cartel, are financed by the Americans. Look at Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious was a sting operation that went wrong. Right, the ATF were providing Mexican cartels with over 1,700 machine guns. Right, the idea was that then they might sell these on, and then we might catch them selling these things on, and then we can arrest them. What actually happened was they just used these guns to kill American border patrol guards. Right. But that was it.
And you just wanted to mention the Los Zetas, which sound like a renegade tribe of extraterrestrials.
Well, these are the guys that are, you know, occasionally in Mexico you'll see like a dozen heads are thrown into a nightclub, or a dozen bodies are dropped on
Well, I'm from concerts, so I've seen that type of thing.
Well, but it does happen basically. So this is the ultra violent cartel that is now basically seems to be taking over from the Sinaloa cartel. They were public rivals to the Sinaloa cartel and the Juarez cartel and such like that. They're incredibly violent. They think nothing of cutting off heads with chainsaws and dumping bodies on the steps of police stations and such like that. They were formed by Guatemalan mercenaries trained by the CIA. Now, the official story about Los Zetas is that they were trained by the USA and Israeli special forces to combat all the other Mexican cartels, and then they went rogue. Right. So what they're expecting us to buy is that they did, like Tommy Lee Jones's character in Under Siege, they were trained by the CIA and then went bad.
Yeah, they changed sides.
Of course it wasn't that they were setting these up so that, again, for all the reasons that we've suggested.
Alright, Neil, well, we've run out of time now, but just give viewers your website address.
Yeah, sure, it's www.neilsandersmindcontrol.com, and also on Facebook. Yeah, if you want to get in touch with me via either of those mediums, please drop me a line.
Alright, and remember, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. I'm Richard D. Hall. Good night.